Between 1881 and 2011, the Indian state executed a rigorous, unbroken 10-year cycle of demographic data collection. That schedule met a hard stop when the COVID-19 pandemic forced an indefinite deferment of the 2021 census. During the resulting operational pause, the Ministry of Home Affairs chose to tear down and rebuild the system's architecture, rather than simply resume a delayed headcount. To map 1.4 billion people, the government has approved a budget of 11,718 crore rupees to deploy an army of 30 lakh field functionaries across the subcontinent. These workers will abandon physical schedules in favor of a fully digital tech stack, delivering national data through a new Census-as-a-Service model. To understand the mechanics of this operation, we have to look directly at the localized deployment logistics, the custom-built software architecture, and the specific 33-question matrix that makes up the initial survey. By updating the nation's severe data deficit from the 2011 baseline, the state apparatus is building the empirical infrastructure required to transition toward predictive governance by the year 2047. India's varied topography and extreme density make a synchronized national sweep an administrative impossibility. You cannot count 1.4 billion people at the exact same time. To prevent logistical bottlenecking, the Registrar General has bifurcated the census into two distinct chronological phases. This map illustrates Phase 1, known as the House Listing and Housing Census. It features a broad national operational window running from April 1st to September 30th, 2026. Notice that regions do not illuminate simultaneously. Each state and union territory selects its own uninterrupted 30-day window within that 6-month period. This decentralized scheduling allows local administrations to bypass heavy monsoons or avoid peak agricultural harvest seasons that would disrupt fieldwork. In Maharashtra, the state administration has locked in a specific physical operation window spanning exactly from May 16th to June 14th, 2026. To prepare for this rollout, Maharashtra executed rigorous pre-tests in agrarian villages and hyper-dense urban wards governed by the Brihan-Mumbai Municipal Corporation. The Brihan-Mumbai Municipal Corporation, or BMC, is the primary civic body responsible for managing Mumbai's complex urban infrastructure. Once Phase 1 maps the physical structures, the state initiates Phase 2, the population enumeration. This is the actual demographic headcount. For the vast majority of the country, Phase 2 is anchored to a synchronized temporal reference point, exactly 00 hours on March 1, 2027. Geography dictates the exceptions. In snowbound terrains like Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir, deep winter conditions restrict physical mobility, so their Phase 2 operations are legally advanced to September 2026. By isolating the mapping of physical infrastructure from the counting of human beings, the government isolates its logistical variables and minimizes the statistical risk of excluding any household from the final tally. After the 2011 census, millions of paper forms had to be manually processed. The resulting multi-year latency meant complex demographic data was already aging by the time it reached policymakers. The software architecture solving this delay is the Census Management and Monitoring System, or CMMS. The CMMS is a centralized, cloud-based platform that acts as the real-time operational command center for the entire census. This flowchart illustrates the system's live visibility. If a specific enumeration block falls behind schedule, charge officers see the dashboard instantly and deploy reserve staff to correct the bottleneck. Feeding data into this dashboard is a suite of custom mobile applications developed by CDAC. CDAC is the Center for Development of Advanced Computing, the premier research and development organization operating under the Ministry of Electronics. The suite includes a digital layout map application that enumerators use to capture precise GPS coordinates for every structure. This geotagging process entirely eliminates the historical problem of overlapping administrative boundaries. Because field workers operate in cellular dead zones, the primary data collection app is engineered to function completely offline. It caches data locally, then automatically encrypts and synchronizes it to the servers once an internet connection is restored. The app also features strict validation logic. If an enumerator mistakenly inputs a 5-year-old child as a married head of household, the software flags the contradictory entry on the spot. Shifting data capture to edge devices with localized logic checks removes manual transcription errors. The resulting database is clean, verified, and instantly machine-readable.
The most significant change for the public is the introduction of a formal self-enumeration protocol. This citizen-facing portal opens exactly 15 days before the physical field visits begin. This interface shows the user journey. A citizen logs in using mobile OTP authentication, navigates the digital form using built-in tooltips, and inputs their own household metrics. Upon submission, the portal generates a unique alphanumeric self-enumeration ID. When the government enumerator eventually arrives at the residence, they execute a hybrid verification handshake. The resident provides the ID, the enumerator inputs it into their tablet, and the pre-submitted data instantly synchronizes without a lengthy verbal interview. Offloading the initial data entry directly to digitally literate citizens reduces the cognitive load and temporal strain placed on the 30 lakh field functionaries. This asynchronous entry mechanism is designed to circumvent the intense survey resistance and scheduling friction historically encountered in high-income urban centers and gated metropolitan communities. The specific data collected during this initial phase is governed by an expanded 33-question schedule. This questionnaire functions as a highly granular macroeconomic audit. This diagram shows how structural inquiries have been modernized. Instead of a general assessment of building quality, the census records the predominant material of the floor, the walls, and the roof as completely isolated data points. Isolating the roof material allows disaster management agencies to map precise community vulnerabilities to extreme weather events, like cyclonic winds or severe thermal heat waves. The schedule also introduces queries regarding internet access and the specific type of smartphone owned by the household, giving the government an exact geographic map of the nation's digital divide. Extensive inquiries regarding water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure provide a definitive audit for multi-billion-dollar welfare programs, verifying the actual physical penetration of sanitation initiatives across rural districts. Just as critical as what is asked is what has been strategically removed. The 2027 schedule drops the previous census inquiry regarding access to banking services entirely. Removing this question indicates state confidence that macro-financial inclusion drives, like the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, have achieved near-universal saturation. The PMJDY is a national mission designed to ensure comprehensive access to basic banking and savings accounts for all citizens. These 33 data points allow the government to move past inefficient, uniform policy rollouts. Capital for roads, schools, and hospitals can now be deployed based on precise GPS coordinates identifying exact localized deprivations. Collecting highly specific, GPS-tagged data on personal assets naturally elevates public anxiety regarding state surveillance and data misuse. To encourage participation, this information is legally ring-fenced under the provisions of the Census Act of 1948. The legislation ensures absolute anonymity. The raw data cannot be published with personal identifiers and is explicitly prohibited from being shared with tax authorities or law enforcement agencies. The digital architecture enforces this legal firewall through a tri-level cybersecurity protocol. Data is encrypted at the point of contact on the app, secured during cellular transit, and locked at rest within the CMMS servers. Securing this physical and structural data during Phase 1 provides the necessary data baseline for Phase 2. During the February 2027 operations, the Government of India will execute a comprehensive caste enumeration for the first time since 1931. Capturing this verified caste demographic yields the empirical bedrock required to evaluate the realities of other backward classes and historically marginalized subgroups. Other backward classes, or OBCs, is the collective term used by the state to classify educationally or socially disadvantaged communities. This dataset will directly inform the restructuring of national affirmative action policies. Finally, the completion of this database triggers the post-2026 parliamentary delimitation exercise, which dictates the distribution of political representation within the Lok Sabha. The GPS-tagged spatial mapping secured by the digital layout tools during Phase 1 provides the strict mathematical foundation necessary to redraw India's electoral constituencies to match modern population densities. This digitally engineered blueprint will dictate the geographic distribution of state resources, welfare capital, and political power for the next 20 years.